Hey, everybody. Welcome to Daniel Davis Deep Dive Special Edition. Kind of a shorter one today. I wanted to come on and talk to you about because a number of people have made some comments about the Tulsi Gabbard selection as the Director of National Intelligence. Obviously, I've been advocating for this for quite a long time. Said that it was a great thing for the United States, certainly a great thing for the President Trump to have her on his staff. And my wife and I had the privilege yesterday of actually going to the White House for what turned out to be one of two separate swearing-in ceremonies. I didn't realize that there was going to be separate ones, but the one, I guess the one for record, was in the Oval Office, as you see there, where President Trump was making some comments, which I'll get to in just a second. But there was a separate one for a lot of family and friends in a different part of the White House. It was called the Indian Treaty Room, actually, and that picture Gary was just showing you there was what the view was of the White House from that room. There, it was just actually pretty cool, interesting observation. Yeah, that was an angle of the White House I'd never seen before. So, and we were told by some of the officials in the White House, by the way, that just below that picture at the bottom, you can see the roof on the picture right there. That's where the famous Situation Room is located in the bottom part of that. So that was kind of an interesting thing as well. I've been to the White House on one previous occasion, just as a tourist, actually, and got to see a lot of the stuff. This is I guess it was the second time I've been to the White House on a more official basis. But this was really, really good there. But obviously, we're really happy about Tulsi getting accepted into this and finally passing confirmation after all the heat she took. And, I just want to point out, and just to kind of reiterate some of the things that I've said before, and then really talk a little bit more about her qualifications. The mainstream media just adopted this catchphrase that the controversy of having Tulsi Gabbard in at this position to someone who's not qualified is just ridiculous. It was always untrue. And this particular picture here, this is the one that my wife and I attended, where there's the Attorney General Pam Bondi was administering the oath of office. Lots of senators and congressmen, and then lots of family and friends were there too. So it was good. I actually got to meet some of the folks on her staff. That was actually also very interesting. But listen, I want to point out, it was always untrue that Tulsi Gabbard was unqualified. It was never true. To the contrary, she was more qualified than almost anybody else had been in. Just consider, she was a lieutenant colonel. It actually still is serving a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve. She had been volunteered to go to combat deployments. She didn't have to go, but she chose to go to, I think it was at least 2 combat deployments. She was a member of the House of Representatives. She was on the House Armed Services Committee. She had run for president as a Democrat in the 2020 election, trying to get the nomination, which Joe Biden eventually ended up winning. I mean, this is somebody who was extremely well qualified, extremely patriotic, and sharply focused on things that are real. She's taken a lot of heat in her career. As we showed you a week or so ago with Ted Postal, she took a stand on publicly challenging the intelligence community on its claims in 2013 that there was a Syrian chemical weapons strike that should necessitate an American response. And she pointed out that there were some real problems with what was being said then. And Ted Postal, who we've had on the show to actually detail what he said, raised some very disturbing questions that questioned the veracity of the intelligence community's public assessment that it was Bashar al-Assad and on his people, etc. And Ted Postal showed you how there was some physical impossibilities that made it nearly impossible for Assad to have actually done it, and raised questions about who actually did it. But she took a lot of heat because she wasn't an person who's just following along with whatever the intelligence community said. She's not just an establishment figure, and the establishment doesn't like people who aren't establishment followers. They want people to just follow in line with whatever they decide is going in. And, you can go back even to the Bush administration, the Iraq War of 2003, the veritable weaponization of the intelligence community that was raised as a canard that said the weapons of mass destruction necessitated going to war and all that kind of stuff. You've seen it. I guess it was in the 2020 election, or maybe it was in the 2024. I can't recall right offhand, where allegedly 51 intelligence experts said that they were worried about President Trump, and some information that had come out turned out to be completely bogus. It wasn't true at all, but they put their names on it anyway. All these kinds of things. Tulsi Gabbard stood in contradiction to that. She came in and said, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be fair. I've had combat experience on the operational level. I know how vital and crucial it is to have accurate intelligence. Commander-in-chief or any war-making leader can't make good decisions about what they ought to do unless they have accurate intelligence. And too many times the people who've been in some of these key positions in the intel community have given slanted information. So even if a president wanted to make a good decision, the information that they were selectively given would slant what the president may do and make him or come to a conclusion that might have been contrary to what could actually be accomplished, and that he would make decisions he might not have made if he'd had the real information. This is what the establishment didn't want. So they always said that she was unqualified and blah, blah, blah. It was never true. And in fact, when she was finally selected, and Trump deserves a lot of credit for putting up somebody that was, so roundly opposed by the Washington insiders, and then was able to get her nomination through despite a lot of criticism. But here is just a real brief comment about what she had to say here, which is, again, why I think it's so important to have her on board.
Mr. President, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the trust that you have placed in me to fulfill this critical position as Director of National Intelligence at any time, but specifically during this time. Unfortunately, the American people have very little trust in the intelligence community, largely because they've seen the weaponization and politicization of an entity that is supposed to be purely focused on ensuring our national security. So I look forward to being able to help fulfill that mandate that the American people delivered to you very clearly in this election, to refocus our intelligence community by empowering the great patriots who have chosen to serve our country in this way, and focus on ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. As you've said, Mr. President, this is what I've dedicated my life to, and it is truly humbling to be in this position, to serve in your administration, help to rebuild that trust, and ultimately to keep the American people safe.
Yeah, and that's enough there right there. That was great. I just promise you, I've known Tulsi for 3 years, and I tell you that she is the same person behind the camera as she is in front of the camera. There's not a duplicitous way with her. There's some well-known people I've known in the past will say one thing in front of the camera, and then behind the scenes they'll say, "Well, this is what I really think," and that just erodes the trust that people have, because a lot of folks are aware that it's happening, but. By and large, it's not with Tulsi Gabbard. Obviously, there's some things you can't say in public, but the context and the thrust of what she believes is the same behind the scenes as in front. So I can just tell you from personal knowledge, the things that she said in that commentary right there are what she genuinely believes. She truly does want to just have accurate intelligence that properly informs the commander-in-chief what any given situation is, so that he can make the decision that he makes, as is his constitutional obligation to do so, not what anybody else wants. And she said during her opening statement, I believe, that she is going to take it to the maximum extent anybody can, all of her biases out, and she's just going to faithfully produce for the president what the truth is. And that is another huge breath of fresh air, and something that I really, really expect to result in really good things for the United States, because this is a tough world, folks. And there's a lot of really, really difficult choices that any president's going to have to make. And you've got to have accurate information so that you make decisions that have their best chance to produce positive outcomes for the United States. And as Tulsi said there, bring peace to America. So we're going to continue to watch with great hopes as she continues to go forward and do her job. Unfortunately, because of it's a classified situation, we won't probably see a lot of it, but I guess we'll see the results of it based on some of the decisions that Trump ends up making. But in any case, this is going to go a long way toward helping to restore some trust of the American people in the intelligence community. Well, thank you very much. That's all I got for you today. Just wanted to let you know about that, because I know a lot of people were interested. And we really appreciate you guys being with us today. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Daniel Davis Deep Dive.